it's a way of separating and sorting out all the things that relate to separation, relationship breakdown, property issues, children issues, but agreeing to do it in a collaborative fashion.
Is it like mediation?
Yes and no. It's very like mediation in as much as we're round a table and we're friendly and we're calling everybody by their first name and we're wanting to be civil and respectful. But it differs from mediation because collaborative lawyers are on hand at the roundtable meeting with the parties. So if the parties need legal advice in the room, that's what they get. If people, for example, are struggling over understanding what a pension sharing order is, and I'm not going to get technical on you, in a mediation environment, there's one mediator who has to remain neutral. So even if that mediator knows what a pension sharing order is, they can't explain it because that's not their role. They'd have to then say to the couple, well, go to your independent solicitors, ask them, and then we'll reconvene this meeting in a couple of weeks.
That sounds crazy.
Well, it does fragment things somewhat, but it's one of the benefits, in my view, of a collaborative process that we have both parties' lawyers there and the lawyers can explain things and, very importantly, they hear what the other lawyer is saying. And if they have a slightly different view, they'll express it. But largely, there's none of this bickering in solicitors' correspondence about, well, you've got the wrong approach.
It's not so much adversarial.
No, exactly.
As collaborative.
That's it. And that's why it's called the Collaborative Lawyers group, the Shropshire Collaborative Lawyers, because we're entirely geared up to help people sort of move away from this posturing and this court process. These are people who have loved each other once and their relationship has broken down. But many people who come to us don't want the stress and the worry of court, never mind the cost. And we felt that there was a really good opportunity locally to offer people throughout Shropshire this facility.
And I would imagine, really, that sometimes in these sorts of situations, it's extremely stressful for all concerned anyway. Yeah. Some people, never mind talk to each other, they can't even bear to look at each other. And I would imagine this is now completely different. And sometimes they might come round to say, let's work together.
Yes, well, we have to be careful in terms of initially assessing parties and deciding whether we think it would be a compatible and suitable method to resolve their differences. Clearly, if people have any concerns over domestic abuse or issues of that kind of nature or a relationship power imbalance or something of that ilk, then that's not the process that's going to suit them.
What sort of success rate?
Very high, over 90%.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that has to be made clear to people is that if we go down a collaborative approach, all of the parties, so that's the couple and their lawyers, have to sign an agreement to say that we're all committing to resolving this around the table and not going to court. So everybody makes an effort to keep things on track, and inevitably we're going to get a few sticky times when people feel a bit uncomfortable or a thorny issue's tackled or we think we're at an impasse. But then we remind couples that the alternative is that both lawyers step out of the process and the couple start from scratch on the traditional method of going down the correspondence route and the time that takes and maybe the court. And people then find a way through the impasse.
I would imagine, in many cases, much better when children are involved.
Yes, it's fabulous. In a number of collaborative cases I've had the privilege to be involved in, the children have very much been the reason why the parties have chosen this method, because they know they want to keep a good relationship. They'd like to be at the children's weddings. They'd like to be in a family Christmas environment and be able to invite each other in for a mince pie and a cup of tea. They want to be able to share those future important times for the family, even though they're not going to be partners together in life any longer.